What's up everyone, it's Fierce MG. It's actually been quite a while since I actually do these type of videos because if you notice over almost all my videos, most of the time I've actually been working on my edited videos that I've actually been having fun with, but at the same time it's kind of stressful for me for all the work I had to go through just to make it happen and all for you guys. Hopefully you understand all the stuff I actually been through, and hopefully down in the future will be continuing doing these type of videos, but later on I just have to see what's going on with my account that's being negotiated with the people at KOG. The only thing that's holding me back is them responding that they haven't been getting me back, or they haven't got a consultation from their team if they give the good go to release my account or not. So I'm waiting for that to happen, and I'm just going to hold myself seat tight and hopefully I get my account back so I can make more videos for my account and then have more other people's account. But onwards, anyway, since the North American server, we actually got these two new dungeons that's been released recently, which is the 12-3 Dark Elves Outposts, and the other dungeon is going to be Forsaken Spirit Asylum. Well, people in KR, however, just actually got additional 3 dungeons. It's going to be the Tower of Howling Crimson Flames, a Dark of No Return, and the Cradle of Crimson Flames. But for today's video, I'm actually going to focus on what we have for now for the North American server. So we could just jump into that right now. So you can actually see the little problems that we're actually going to have with these 2 new dungeons that we got recently. So if you haven't played the new dungeons already, from my experience from playing Hugs' account, it's pretty tough to play the dungeon as is because already you've been debuffed by the environment, technically speaking, from what they said. So all your HP, attack power, defense power are already reduced by 30%, which already takes a huge chunk of your stats as is. But the only way to get that mitigated is to grind for a tile, which actually negates that negative effect, so you can actually do full power most of the time in those dungeons. But the actual bigger problem is the fact when we actually get these new dungeons, you can actually notice that their combat power actually does increase over time, and even for the Forsaken Spirit Asylum, it's actually already raising the combat power of requirement to 180,000, which is already kind of big of a gap already, because that's actually going to require a player to have full out the most latest gear available what we have right now. So from my experience, you're going to have the full alternative gear. For the actual weapon, you have to use the void weapon and already enhanced around plus 11 or above in order to bump up a requirement. This actually draws some concerns for those players who actually try and enjoy the game as is, but they couldn't either afford to pay for better gear because either they're high schoolers or middle schoolers that doesn't have a job, and that actually draws some concerns for a majority of the players, because probably most of the players are like that in the North American server. But if you compare it to KR's side of the things, they actually are a bit older, they actually have the money to pay all this stuff, and that actually is quite a difference between the 2 servers and 2 different demographics. That actually does determine how tough people at KOG and KR can actually make these dungeons compared to what we see from them. Basically, we don't need to get any compensation from what we have, and we basically have to face what they're having right now at the Korean server. And already I hear people from the Korean community kind of complaining the fact the new raid boss they're having right now, almost every single move that he has can already one-shot you, and even the best geared players out there are actually still dying because of him. And people complain the fact they actually paid this much money to have the best gear, but to only for the people at KOG at KR, making this most hardest boss. He is not very forgiving, and also the fact everything he does will kill you instantly. And personally, I think that's not the direction that Elsword should go, because there's a lot of people out there that try to enjoy the game right now without having to go through of paying a lot of gear and all, but due to the nature of this game, it's actually pretty much that, and you have to pay your weight in order to join the best experience as possible. However, by doing this type of move they're doing right now, it's actually basically creating a paywall for those players who actually try to enjoy the game by telling them you have to get better enhancement on your gear or update your gear and invest even more time out of your time in order to grind those gears to get your best stats, best sockets, whatever you want to do. And then to get the weapon, you invest even more time just to upgrade the weapon to its maximum potential. And just even you get all that over, you go in a dungeon and you still get one shot no matter what you do. All the bosses, and right now in the Korean server they have the new area raid boss, and that already is kind of frustrating to players that actually paid that much just the experience of them being one-shotted, and that's embarrassing really. And then for me as a player that just enjoys playing role-playing games throughout my life, that's something that is not acceptable. And even other games such as Closers and and especially soul workers actually do much better in making the raid boss content. And although it's pretty fun and all, and it's pretty tough, but it's not to the point that a single mistake that you do in the boss or in raid boss will be to the point that you actually die instantly. Then you don't have time to learn your mistakes and try to get used to the raid boss, so down in the future you can keep on doing him as much as possible, and you actually can crank up the fun by either playing some music in the background just to kick things off, or you could be actually doing a call with your friends just to make things more fun. But right now in Elsword, it's actually not, it's going to be like that way anymore from this point on. And from what I can see from what they did for the L Tower they did before, we're going to have to wait for a couple more months later for them to bring down the requirement and have those players that wants to join the game just play those dungeons, and then they get to finally experience what it looks like. So that actually be all for today for me addressing some of the problems that we have right now regarding the new dungeons we have right now, and the people at the Korean server having trouble dealing with this boss actually can one-shot you almost every single way. So what do you think about this stuff we're having right now? Is this the way we should handle raid bosses or anything new content down the future? Or is this practice pretty much unacceptable for us players, and then we should actually bring our opinion towards them and tell them that this is not acceptable at all? So I do look forward to see your comments down below and then bring some discussions around the community. And I'll be signing off for now. I'll see you guys later.
언제나 승리뿐. 완료.